Ready?
Okay.
Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Ordinary Guys Bourbon. Today, a special guest we've got on the program. It's my, what are you, my brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Joe Thomas.
Yeah, married to your sister.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So Joe, tell us a little about yourself.
So, obviously, like you had mentioned, married your sister. So, part of the family. Got 3 kids. Full-time job. Big Michigan fan, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, you're representing today.
And, you know, I like to fancy a bourbon here now and again.
Yeah, well, and that's what this program's all about. It's trying to take different types of bourbon and through the lens of an ordinary guy, which we all are, right? You talking about the bourbon, the history of the offering, having a sample. We've got one neat and one however you normally drink it.
All right.
And then we do a basic scoring system. We've got heritage, taste and drinkability, affordability, and then the design, right? So it's pretty simple. But before we get into this, right, because we'll get into the bourbon, that's no problem. You're a big golfer.
I am. Yes.
So how, it's Michigan, and you obviously, do you get into the virtual golf in the winter?
Yeah, we do a little bit of it. Actually, I have a couple of corporate events I do every year that also, rely on the virtual golf. It kind of helps you do something on kind of the off season.
Yeah.
People like. It's not the same, obviously, but it's something to do.
But there's a new league that does nothing but virtual golf.
TGL. I haven't really got into that yet.
Is it for all virtual? Because I thought I saw an episode where they were like putting.
Yeah. So it's it's all the pros, right? So they have lots of money behind them, so they're able to do a lot more than you or I could go do.
It's at someone's garage.
Right. So they have, obviously the screen's massive, all the technology's great, and then they also have real sand they can hit out of. They have real greens they can putt on. Yeah. So it's.
Do they move the sand for like different holes, or?
Again, I haven't really checked it out.
Yeah.
I don't know that they move the sand. It might be, hey, you're hitting from the sand, and they move the pin or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think I
sounds like it's pretty cool, but
yeah. I watched one. It was at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, look, they can't just move the sand trap, right?
Right.
But there's teams as well.
Yeah, it's like 3-man teams or something like that. Is my understanding.
So you're a big golfer though. The golf balls. I'm not a golfer. I'm not old enough yet. But like golf balls, there's like different types of the what is it, Title something or
Titleist, yep.
Titleist, and then Nike has a golf ball.
Everybody. Well, no, Nike used to have golf balls. They don't have them anymore.
I know Costco has.
Yes, Kirkland has
a lot of articles about
They
that.
actually knocked off the Titleist for a little while and got in some legal trouble. And
Is there that big of a difference? Like the dimple pattern, does it really make a difference? Can you tell?
You can tell. So the biggest thing that any golfer can tell, in my opinion, is how soft it is, like what it feels like, right?
Okay.
There's golf balls that hit and it feels like you're hitting a rock.
Really?
And there's other golf balls that hit, they have much more, it just feels softer coming off the club. And that just, obviously all the different design, everything they have into it, that's the biggest thing you can feel. Now, are there performance stuff? Yeah, there is. There's no doubt. They'll hit them with robots and they can show you the performance differences.
So like how far when you drive a ball, like when you go to the driving range and you're really getting after it, but trying to maintain some accuracy. Like how many yards do you shoot the ball with one of those big cantaloupe on the end of a stick drivers?
Yeah, that's what everybody has now.
Well,
I remember when the Big
woods.
Berthas were first coming out, right? And that was like the new hotness. Everybody was going to Big Berthas, and now, you could look at a Big Bertha and it's like, I think it's tiny compared to what we're hitting now. Oh my gosh, they're humongous. They're like the size of this.
But so how far would you hit a ball?
Yeah, I can hit it anywhere from, depending on wind, all that stuff, maybe from 270 to 300.
You can lie. No one's gonna fact check you.
No,
you can say I crushed that thing 500 yards.
No, I've hit plenty of 300-yard drives in my day, and I've also, I would say more consistently, I'm probably about a 275.
So if you're with the same club, same atmospheric conditions, right, and you're hitting 275, right, and that's with a Titleist ball, right? What's a Pro V? Is that a ball? Is that a Titleist ball?
So that's a Titleist ball.
So you're hitting 275 with a Pro V, right? If you went to the driving range, you got the ones with the little stripes around them, which is what I use when I golf.
Yeah.
How far would you hit that ball? 275 or?
So when you go and get a range ball, right? That thing's been beat to hell. So a lot of times their performance not so good. Granted,
I'm gonna lose them all anyway.
you can get them cheap, right? You can get a whole bucket of them for like $9.
I know. I fill up my bag.
They're like if you were getting them brand new, it'd probably be all right. But those things are beat to hell.
So you wouldn't recommend using that as your golf?
No.
Your golf ball.
But and Pro V's it's a very, very good ball. They're tailor-made. There's all kinds of Callaway. Everybody makes really good balls. It really is personal preference. But you can go like Top Flights, right? Always known as Top Rocks.
Okay.
They hit hard, right? They feel firm. They feel hard when you hit them.
Okay.
But you can send them too, because it's so firm and.
I'm not a golfer.
But you are an engineer, right?
Yeah.
So you get the physics part of it, right?
So I do. I got a PhD in physics. You know?
Well, see, I don't.
Yeah, well, I got mine online. But so I had an idea. I've had a couple ideas in my life. You talk about engineering, you talk about golf, and I had this idea that, like, you know, people that golf, they've got that bag just full of clubs, right?
Yeah.
They got the woods, whether it's the Big Bertha, the cantaloupe, or whether it's an actual wood.
Yeah.
And they've got like how many irons? You got 9? Nah, there's no
you
one
don't have
iron,
9.
is there?
Well, there is a 1 iron, but most people don't typically carry them.
I think those field drivers. They're like it's like an iron, but it's like a wood.
They're hybrids.
Yeah,
So you have hybrids
I got one
now
of those.
for the higher. It makes it a little easier to hit. Like I say, that's why a 1 iron is so difficult to hit.
Huh. I'm terrible at golf. But I had this idea. So let me ask you. Like, I know that the length of the club for a wood, or a driver, is longer than the shank, is what the stick part of the club, for an iron, right?
Right. The shaft is longer.
But
typically from the woods on down to the putter, it's longer to evidently shorter.
So from like a 3 iron to a 9 iron. I don't know if people use 9 irons, but in that range, is there that much difference in the length of the club, or not really?
Yeah, I don't even I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm just thinking, like, if I took all my clubs and I set them up, sitting on the head of the club, and you looked at the top of the shaft, there would be a decrease. Well, my club, maybe it's a 1/2 inch a club. I don't know exactly what the number is, but it does decrease.
Because I was thinking before, and again, this was like 10, 15 years ago, I was saying what a great idea it would be, instead of having 9 irons in your bag, I thought the only difference was the pitch of the club.
And
and so
the pitch is the biggest difference, right? But for some reason they do
get
cut them shorter.
Really? Oh, well, then
like Bryson DeChambeau, right? He's a professional golfer.
He is.
And he's a little, he's just different than other golfers, right?
Okay.
But one of the biggest things with him is his clubs are the same length. He has a cut. But to your point, right? Like, what is the length? The length of the club doesn't necessarily matter.
Okay.
The pitch is what's the biggest thing.
So he
cuts them all the same, because then he has consistency.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Well, actually, it kind of does make sense.
Yeah. So I had this idea of having a golf club that you could change the pitch of the club, right? Like it's this setting for a 3 iron or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could just manually adjust it. Oh, this is the setting for 4 iron. This is the setting for 5 iron, 6 iron, whatever. And then you only need 1 club.
Honestly, not a bad idea.
I don't think.
As long as it could be robust enough to handle, what it was hitting.
Yeah, the locking mechanism.
Because they have adjustable clubs like drivers and all that. You can change them.
So this is already out there.
No, it's a little different than what you're talking about, but similar, right? Huh. And not quite probably as drastic, right? A driver, maybe you're changing a degree or 2. Well, obviously you go from like a 60 degree lob wedge.
Yeah.
And a 3 iron is completely different. So that's a much bigger change than.
You know what else I like to do when I golf? I golf once a year, and I like to take my balls and I write messages on them.
Yes, like for everybody else.
You stole my ball, give it back, because I'm going to lose them all. Right? They're all going to be gone. And there are people that go on the golf course and they're like there to hunt down balls.
Yep.
Right. They're usually the good golfers. Right.
I actually played with a guy. It was funny. We were up in northern Michigan. I forget the city now, but it was where Northern Michigan University is. We were up there for a conference.
Like Houghton?
No, it's not Houghton. I can't remember the name of it.
Is it on the little stick, the little part of the?
It's like right when you
okay.
want to go up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were up there, and we were supposed to play in an event that day. And I'm like, I've never played here. I got nothing else to do. I might as well go out and play 9 holes before I start. So I got there right when this course was supposed to open.
Okay.
Me thinking it's like every other golf course I've ever been to. Right?
It was not?
No, it wasn't like that. I went, and there wasn't a single car in the parking lot.
Okay.
Evidently, whoever was supposed to open that place woke up late. I have no idea. Nobody was there.
Okay.
There's an old guy comes cruising past on a golf.
Love the guy.
And I'm like, hey,
Love him already.
what's going on? I had a tee time. Nobody's here. Like, should I just? I'll walk or whatever. And he said, well, hey, just play with me. I live on the course.
Really?
Yeah, old guy. All right. So I get in this cart. He's got this pad. It's almost like he took the seat out of like an old truck, like just the padding.
Okay.
And laid it across the top of this golf
the foam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plush. Really.
Okay.
Pretty nice.
Okay. Okay.
The entire front of his golf club, like the little cubbies you have.
Yep.
Filled with golf balls.
Just full.
Filled.
That's what he was doing
with
today.
golf balls.
That's what he was
you
doing
talk about wanting to have one club.
Yeah.
This guy had a whole set, but he mostly used his ball retriever. So as I was playing, he's just out there fishing things through, and there was only probably 2 pieces of water on the entire property. That was his focus. He was out there.
There was a guy I work with that says they have so you're talking about being on a cart. They have he walks the courses, and he's got a little, I don't know, what do you call them, a little push cart?
Yeah.
It just follows him.
Yeah, they have some. The technology is actually pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it'll follow you. They actually have some now that instead of a golf cart, it's almost like a motorcycle, and you almost ride your bag.
That doesn't seem like it'd be safe.
None of it can be safe, especially if you have enough
bourbon, which is not loaded. So let's get into this bourbon here.
Yeah,
because we've been sampling as we talk.
Yeah,
which is great.
Absolutely.
So this is Jefferson's Reserve Twin Oak, very rare custom barrel. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history about this. So this is a $65 offering, more or less, right?
All right.
Jefferson's was founded in 1997 by Trey Zoller and his father Chet, a famed bourbon historian. I don't do a lot of research, but here's my notes.
Yeah.
So not a lot of history. Only 27 years ago was this bourbon company started. But there's a bit of a story. So the brand was originally called McLean and Kine after some relatives, including, quote, an 8th generation grandmother arrested in 1799 for moonshining, which is pretty cool.
Maybe they had a little earlier start.
Yeah,
not quite legal.
McLean and Kine was purchased by Castle Brands, which is another company that was founded in the late 1990s in 2005. I like this. The name Jefferson's, according to this Trey Zoller guy, who's the founder again, was because he had no marketing budget and, quote, he simply wanted a recognizable face associated with history and tradition. Kind of like
that makes sense, yeah.
So when Trey Zoller started Jefferson's Bourbon, the market was quite different. Bourbon in the 70s and 80s was in a rapid decline, right? So what he did was he acquired barrels from other distilleries, right? He didn't start distilling his own product.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So he got into blending. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that in the world. They now do some distilling on their own at a place called the Kentucky Artisan Distillery in Crestwood, Kentucky.
Okay.
That's where they call home. But still, a lot of the bourbons are blended. Twin Oak is another one of Jefferson's creative ideas. So the story behind this specific offering is that the bourbon is finished in proprietary flash charred grooved staves in the barrel, which they call a wave barrel. So inside of the barrel, it's got different grooves cut into it, right, or whatever, and that creates more surface area.
Yeah, right.
But Jefferson's has been a creative company for a long time. You see Jefferson Ocean, right, where they put the barrel on a ship somewhere and they just ship it off and it's sloshing around, right? They've got another Jefferson's Tropics is another offering they have. Interestingly, Thomas Jefferson is not known to drink a lot of bourbon. So he was more of a lighter wine guy, and I think at Monticello he had some beer brewing as well.
If you didn't tell me that, I just would have assumed that he was a big bourbon guy.
Well, but again,
it's kind of smart for them to just put Jefferson's on the
well,
bottom.
just pick an old guy that's in history. That's a recognizable name, right? There was a movie about a guy that I don't know what the movie was, but he wanted to be a senator, and like a senator had just died that had been a well-respected senator, and he had the same name, so he just put himself on the ballot. And a completely different guy.
Yeah.
Right? That was like, I don't know, 80s movie or something like that.
People aren't paying attention. They're just like,
So there's no age statement on this bottle, right? It says very rare though. That's kind of it's very rare.
Yeah, it does.
Online they said maybe this is about 6 to 10 years old, right? The neat thing is
so relatively young for bourbons, right?
Well, you know, so bourbon.
I'm not a huge connoisseur, obviously.
So bourbon has to be aged it has to be aged 2 years minimum.
Okay.
But if it's aged less than 4 years, they have to put an age statement on the bottle. So aged 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So a lot of newer companies like we're here in Michigan, right? The Detroit City Distillery.
Yeah.
If they churned out the product, because they need to get some revenue, right? If they churned out their product and it wasn't aged for 4 years, they have to say that it was only aged for 3 years or 2 years on the bottle. It can still be bourbon. It has to be 2 years minimum, I think. I don't know what the rules are, but I think that's...
What if they blend? What if they, like you were saying, that so these guys went and they bought barrels from other people?
Yeah, so
what if you bought, hey, I got a 8-year barrel from this guy, and how does that hold?
So you can blend all you want, as long as if all the bourbons are older than 4 years, then you don't have to put an age statement on the bottle. Right?
Okay, so Detroit City couldn't go get a 10-year bourbon, mix it with their new stuff.
No, because that part of that blend would be less than
new,
right? So here's how we do it. That's the history of the bourbon.
Okay. I learned something there.
Yeah, and we've got our scoring balance in front of us.
All right.
We've got the neat sample. One of the things about this channel is that a lot of times you go out, there's a lot of great YouTube channels, and about bourbon reviews, and a lot of them are very intelligent, they're fantastic hosts. They got fantastic channels. But you sample a bourbon, or even if you go to like Whiskey Advocate, the magazine, you'll hear about it's got tannins of this, and grapefruit anise, huckleberry root, we don't get into that kind of stuff.
You're not going to be getting that.
We just taste it. How good is it, right? So,
yeah.
So that's the whole idea of the channel. So here you got your ballot.
Okay.
Let's get some scores put down.
All right. Let's see what we got here.
This would normally be like something you might have an interlude while people are scoring, or maybe you fast forward. I haven't figured that out yet.
All right.
New channel. So
here we go.
Score quickly, because otherwise this is like dead air.
So let me ask you one question.
Yeah, shoot.
Taste and drinkability.
Yeah.
What are you looking for on that scale?
Well, so you got.
Obviously, I got one here. Got a little water, a little ice in there.
Yeah.
Lovely taste. And this tastes obviously much more potent, a little stronger.
It's gonna kick you in the face.
But you're tasting a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, just looking for what I think taste and drinkability would be. Obviously, drinkability, I can mix it. I can do a couple different things.
Yeah, so it's really what you'd think. We do the neat sample because it's kind of like a level setter. Like, this is what it tastes like right out of the bottle.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But I usually base my score on how I normally drink it, which is off this one.
Okay.
Right? And it's funny, your wife had the same question. So maybe I should clarify that.
No wonder we're married, I guess. So taste and drinkability, okay. I got there's a little Jefferson's Reserve. They got a little bit of a soft spot in my heart, right? So when Julie and I got married, your dad gave us a bottle. I don't think it's the same exact bottle, obviously. Because like you say, they do all kinds of blends here and there.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago when we got married, we got a bottle of this, obviously an engraving, and so every anniversary, your dad comes over, typically to watch the kids.
Hit a huff of that.
And him and I have a shot of that before Julie and I go out. So
Jake and I, Jake, he's in the military, but every time he comes back home, he bought me a bottle of Woodford that has an engraving of a picture of us on the bottle, and we do the same thing. We have one glass of that together. It doesn't last very long though.
No.
You know.
Well, our bottle lasted a little less than, we only did it once a year, but it lasted maybe about 8 years.
Oh,
maybe even less, maybe even 7 years.
We have not lasted that long.
Well, we refilled it,
yeah,
so we still got to go. We still got to go strong.
So
I got my stuff down here.
Okay.
So
you got to do some math there for the total.
Oh well, hang on a minute.
But you're an engineer, so this should be a challenge. So let's start off with Heritage. So maximum score 20. What do you got at for Heritage?
So I got a 15. Obviously, like you say, I think it's cool kind of what they're doing and some of the history you shared with us. It's kind of neat. I think it started a little earlier than they actually started.
They could have, yeah.
But they're also taking stuff from other folks and blending it together. So I think that's kind of cool. I give it a 15.
Okay, I'll give it a 12. So we're in the ballpark, right? That's good. Yep. Taste and drinkability, maximum 40.
I gave it a 30. I don't know. It's quite a wide range.
Yep.
So for me, it's like, man, if you want to be up in that top 25 percentile, it seems like you really got to knock my socks off. This is good.
But I like it.
It's easy drink.
It's $65 an hour. $65 a bottle.
And that's kind of where
it goes. Well, it goes into the next one, affordability. So I give it a 28 on taste. So we're real close on that. Affordability, maximum's 30, right?
Yeah. I gave it a 25. I mean, you're going to pay just fit the bourbon, a good bourbon, right?
Yeah.
You're going to end up paying $40 anyway. I think this is a little bit elevated against stuff that you would be paying $40 for.
I would agree.
I think it's fair, but yeah.
I agree. And then design.
I mean, again, I'm a little
biased.
A little biased to the bottle.
But look at that stopper. That you know when your wife was on a couple episodes ago, I think we had Baker's. I think is what we had.
Okay, yeah.
And Baker's is a plain bottle. And I didn't even think about this, but the stopper is what she honed in on. She got a perfect score on design, right? For Baker's, right? But she was also hitting wine pretty hard too.
Well, that's.
But you know, like it's not just a plain like a Buffalo Trace cork.
Yeah,
it's got a little bit to it.
It is kind of cool. So you got to be a little careful putting it back in.
Yeah, I know. I pinched myself today. It might be I don't know if I have to report an OSHA injury on the show. I don't know if we got.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. Safety scores.
Well,
you're in the business.
I'm gonna go ahead and right or wrong. I'm not gonna report it. Right. But for design, you gave it
I gave it an 8. I mean, it's nothing. I've seen some really pretty cool bourbon bottles, to be honest with you. And like I say, this probably got a knock up for me, just because of the little nostalgia, the shape. Again, the Jefferson's thing's kind of cool, and honestly, everyone you get's a little different because they're always blended different stuff.
It's got a different section right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I scored it very close. I scored a 7. So my overall score is a 69. What do you have overall?
I had a 78 on mine.
78. So
like I say, nostalgia may have knocked it up a couple of notches, but
that's okay.
It's still very good.
Still very good.
I really like it.
That's good. Well, cheers to you.
Yeah.
Until next time, thanks from Ordinary Guys Bourbon.
Cheers.